All right, let's get right into it. When we look at our city skylines, all those glittering towers of glass and steel, we see progress, right? We see ambition. But what if that ambition comes with a hidden cost? A cost that can be, well, fatal. Today, we're going to use a really tragic fire in Hong Kong to peel back that shiny facade on skyscraper living and ask what risks we're all accepting every time we decide to build higher.
And this is what it all comes down to. Behind all the big headlines and the numbers, there are people. This quote is from a resident of the Wan Fu Court complex in Hong Kong, who literally watched a lifetime of memories just go up in smoke. It's such a powerful reminder that these buildings, they aren't just concrete and steel, they're homes.
And this is the sheer scale of the tragedy we're talking about. In this one single fire, more than 200 people were left without a home, many of them trapped while this inferno raged. A number this big, it just forces you to stop and ask some really tough questions about how safe it is to live way up in the sky.
Okay, so let's set the scene. We're in the Tai Po district of Hong Kong. We're at the Wan Fu Court residential complex. And these weren't some brand new fancy luxury towers. No, these were 40-year-old buildings, a real community, home to a lot of elderly residents who were right there, at home when disaster struck.
What's just terrifying here is the speed. I mean, look at this. The fire starts and it's a level 1 incident. Manageable, that's what they thought. But just 5 minutes later, it jumps to a level 4. To put that in perspective, that's a massive incident that needs a huge response. And then, within an hour, it hits level 5, the absolute maximum alert. This wasn't some slow burn. This thing was an explosion.
So you have to ask, how does a fire escalate that fast? Well, investigators found out pretty quickly this wasn't just a case of bad luck. No, it was a fatal combination of factors. Basically, a perfect storm that created a completely uncontrollable inferno. And this slide just lays out that perfect storm perfectly. Okay, so you've got an older building that's wrapped in traditional bamboo scaffolding. Then, during the renovation, they used this highly flammable insulation foam, so you've essentially just coated the entire building in fuel. On top of that, you have reports of disconnected fire alarms and even workers smoking nearby. It was a catastrophe just waiting for a spark. The fire didn't even spread on the inside first. It just raced up the outside, swallowing entire floors in minutes.
This whole tragedy, it really points to a much, much bigger problem. The risks that are just built into fighting fires in any tall building. I mean, the rules of the game completely change when you're hundreds of feet up in the air.
Let's just break down how different this really is. Think about a fire in a regular house. Firefighters can get to it from all sides. Getting everyone out takes a few minutes. But a skyscraper, forget about it. Access is incredibly limited. A full evacuation could take hours. And smoke doesn't just stay in one apartment. It can get into the ventilation and travel through the whole system. The key takeaway here is that these towers aren't just bigger houses. They're totally different ecosystems with their own unique and very serious dangers.
Seriously, just think about that for a second. The alarm goes off. You're on the 60th floor. The elevators are shut down, obviously. What do? I mean, how long would it take to walk down 60 flights of stairs, maybe filled with smoke, along with hundreds of other panicked people? It is a logistical nightmare. And for the people trying to save you, it is just as terrifying. Those huge fire truck ladders, they top out around the 15th floor. Maybe. Helicopters can't get too close to a burning building because the heat and smoke are just too intense. A lot of modern skyscrapers have sealed windows, for climate control, which means there's no way out and no way for the smoke to get out either. And even the sprinkler systems, the one thing you think you can count on, well, as we saw in Hong Kong, they can be disconnected or just not working. So if the risks are this huge, it really begs the question, why do we keep building higher and higher? Well, the answer, like it often is, comes down to a really powerful mix of human psychology and, of course, economics. Now check out this data. It's pretty amazing. According to surveys, a staggering 40% of people who buy apartments in high-rises say the view is a key reason for their choice. Not the floor plan, not the fancy gym downstairs, the view. We are just fundamentally drawn to the idea of being above it all. And this creates this really powerful cycle, right? For a developer, building up is just simple math. The more floors you can stack on one expensive piece of land, the more profit you make. And for buyers, living on a high floor isn't just a home, it's a status symbol. It says you've made it. So developers sell that dream, and people pay a lot of money to live in it.
But there is one last piece to this whole puzzle, a risk that has absolutely nothing to do with fire or emergencies. It's this chronic, day-to-day cost of living at these extreme heights that, honestly, most people have never even heard of.
It's called high-rise building syndrome. And yeah, it's a real thing. Researchers have actually found that after just 3 months of living above the 10th floor, some people's bodies just start to react in a negative way. Why? Because all tall buildings naturally sway. It's a subtle, low frequency of vibration that you don't even consciously notice. But your inner ear, your vestibular system that controls your balance, it definitely does. And it's in a constant state of low-level confusion.
So the crazy part is that the price you pay for that incredible view might actually be your own health. We're talking about things like constant fatigue, messed up sleep patterns, higher blood pressure, and just this general feeling of psycho-emotional stress. It's this subtle, invisible danger that's there long after the construction crews have packed up and gone home.
Which brings us to our final big question. From Hong Kong to New York to Dubai, our cities are in a constant race to the sky. We are pushing the absolute limits of engineering and design. But the fire at One Fu Court and the science behind high-rise syndrome, it kind of suggests we might not be fully prepared for the human consequences of it all. As we keep reaching for the clouds, are we remembering the actual people who have to live there?